Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be ranting today. I'm a little bit seething right now, and it is because of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Just when you think she couldn't get any lower, right? When you thought she couldn't be any more nasty and vindictive, calculating and cruel, here she comes now talking about how she wants to, quote, talk to the men that she helped frame in her own Fednapping hoax. I'm not making it up. We're going to read the exact quote of what she said, why she said it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, but I'm also going to give you some quotes from the families of these men who were framed and partially by her. She participated in this. She was made aware of it. That's something everybody needs to understand right off the bat. So let me bring up the actual quote here. Whitmer has a pack called the Fight Like HELL pack, and she's been holding events for it. She's been trying to help fundraise for the Democrats, and she's been trying to like rally support for them at a time where support for them is not going well. So she just had an event 2 days ago on the 17th, and she's been interviewed by a publication called The Advance. And listen to this and listen to what she says. So the article says, in July, Whitmer is set to release a book, True Gretch. Oh, sorry. True True Gretch, a twist on the famous film True Grit. I just have to laugh because Whitmer grew up incredibly privileged. She is incredibly privileged. Like, she's doesn't really have grit. And I mean, unless you're talking about like her unpleasant personality, yeah, that's all I can think of, right? So the article says, and listen to this part, it's very important. Although governors and presidents can't knock on doors and ask people what they need and what elected officials can do to make their lives better, like candidates for other offices can, Whitmer told The Advance that authentic conversations about things that matter to people are really what campaigns are about. So, I wonder if someone's having an authenticity problem, right? She's not a very authentic person. And I think everybody knows that. But that is what people want. People want somebody who is real, who's going to be themselves, who's going to tell the truth, though. And that's just not her. The article goes, that's why she would like to, and listen to how they worded this, by the way, talk to some of the men who plotted to kidnap her in 2020 over her COVID orders. She says, quote, I really would, Whitmer said. I would like to do that because I know that they are human beings who something's not working for them in their lives. And I'm curious, what really is happening to see if there's something I could do that would be helpful. Unbelievable. And so I wanted to point this out because she's still using the word plotted, like as if these men actually plotted anything. The only people who were doing the plotting was the FBI and DOJ. So perhaps that's who she wants to talk to, and that's who she wants to help, and presumably herself, because she also participated in this. And so I thought it was interesting too, down at the bottom, they say sometimes authenticity can lead to a great moment that connects elected officials to their constituents. So it seems like she's looking to come off as more authentic by saying that she wants to talk to these guys and she understands they're human beings. Well, she has done nothing to help these men, she's done nothing to recognize their humanity. This is Adam Fox. This is the man she helped frame as the ringleader of her own, again, fake uh, fake kidnapping plot. Here's Barry Croft with Chastity, his ex-fiance. That's Barry and Chastity again. She helped to frame him, take him away from his daughters. You see them in the pictures here. I have, of course, covered the faces of the children for privacy, but this is Barry with his family. Like, She says that she knows these men are human beings. I ask her to look at this picture. This is a man you took, a father you took from his three girls, or you helped to take him from his girls. This is Joe Morrison. You took him from his wife and his two kids and his mother-in-law, Crystal Musico, there. You also took his father-in-law, Pete Musico. That's Crystal's husband, and that's Jada, Joe's wife. That's her father. So Crystal and Jada lost their father, and for Crystal, her son-in-law; for Jada, her husband. Imagine losing your husband and your father to this when they didn't do anything. And everybody knows it. And of course, everybody knows Paul Bellar. So these are the five guys that are still in there because of her lies. Adam Fox, Barry Croft, Joe Morrison, Paul Bellar, and Pete Musico. Does she even know their names? Honestly. I mean, how ridiculous. And now I want to read from quotes I got from the families of these guys, because I wanted to know their thoughts. I talked to Barry Croft's mother. Her name is Rosemary McGuire, and this is what she had to say about Whitmer wanting to talk to the guys. So she says, I think that this is like before, talking about 2020. This all happened before an election. And here we are going into another election. She says, I think she's trying to pander to her base. And I believe that's true. She says a lot of Dems are jumping ship. And so she's trying to help the Dems, and she's pandering, acting like she has a conciliatory demeanor when she does not. She does not care about these men one iota. If she did, she would have reached out after the first trial ended in 0 convictions, 2 acquittals, and a mistrial on Adam and Barry. She would not have championed the retrial of Adam and Barry in the state cases like she did. She would have reached out after the second acquittals, where 3 men were acquitted. That's 5 acquittals total by 2 different juries. She could have came forward and said at that point, hey, I think we need to reevaluate what happened in this case. Half of these men have been found not guilty and have been acquitted. Something here doesn't add up. She didn't do that, though. She actually doubled down, and she said it was a sad day for Michigan, and went on to attack the jury in Antrim County along with her buddy Dana Nassel. So Barry's mom says power is intoxicating for some people above all else, and I believe that's true. Barry's mom says there are some people out here who would throw their own mother to the wolves just to get their hands on power, and that's absolutely correct. Barry's stepdad said that what she said about wanting to talk to these men after what she helped do to them, that would make a that would gag a maggot on a puke truck, and I agree with him. That's absolutely correct. It's harsh, but he's right. Barry's mom said, Whitmer's trying to sell ice cubes to the Eskimos. It makes us sick. What this has done to Barry's children is what has had the most impact on me. That's what Barry's mother says. You know, it's hard for her to watch Barry's daughters have to go through life without their father, you know, asking, when are we going to get to see dad? When is dad going to come home? They need their father. And it's also upsetting for Barry's mom because she is getting up there in age. She and her husband, she said, I probably won't see my son in my lifetime. And she's right. She says, my husband and my health are both declining. So her and her husband have health problems, and that has only been getting worse. And she says, if Barry doesn't get his appeal, I fear I won't see him. I'll never be able to hug him again. I'll never be able to talk to him in person and hold his hand. So her saying this, Whitmer saying she wants to talk to Barry, is especially hurtful. And Barry's mom, Rosemary, says Whitmer is still wanting to use these men. How sad is that? And she said that the public is now beginning to see what is going on, that the FBI is targeting people specifically so they can increase their own funding. And if we allow what happened to these men to continue, to to stand, right? If we don't reverse this on appeal, if these convictions stand, it will be a disservice to all the people who come after the Michigan men, because they will not stop. And she's absolutely right. She goes on to say, the misconduct and the inappropriate things done at my son's trial was blatant. It was done in full view of the public, and they didn't care. They had no fear. Evidence was denied and buried. All kinds of things happened. She said Barry should have been allowed to impeach the character of the three lead handling agents, because those were the people that were accusing him, along with the other informants, all of them. Adam's mom, I asked her what she thinks about this, and this was her quote about what she thinks about Whitmer wanting to talk to these men. Adam's mother says, quote, based on the evidence that has come out and other evidence that is still protected by the court. For people who don't know, even though the cases have been adjudicated, we're now in the appeals for Adam and Barry, they are still keeping a lot of discovery under, quote, protective seal. So she says, based on the evidence that has come out and other evidence that is still protected by the court and the recent developments in this case, new evidence that has been publicly reported on and disclosed by journalists, if Whitmer wants to help those who plotted, then she needs to turn her attention to the FBI and the DOJ, the people who did the plotting, and ask them what made them orchestrate the hoax. And I have to say that I 100% agree with her on that. I think she was spot on. Paul's dad said basically the same thing too. If she's saying then if she wants to help the men who plotted the so-called kidnapping, then she's saying she wants to help the FBI and the DOJ herself, Dana Nessel's office, and the Michigan State Police, apparently, because these are the people that conspired and plotted. And I think everybody knows that at this point. And the timing of this is interesting because we just had oral arguments for Adam and Barry at the Sixth Circuit in front of a 3-judge panel that, as you guys know, we covered on this channel. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it. It's on my live streams feed. We did a live stream. We covered it. It's about 2 hours. You can skip forward about an hour. I had an issue with time zones. I am actually blonde, though. It is not my fault. Women don't do time zones, okay? Like, we don't convert the time zones. It is not our fault. In any case, so it was a little longer than intended, but you can go listen to it there. That went very well for the guys. And also, the Sixth Circuit has, this is where we stand right now, has issued a request, and the request is very specific. In fact, I'll read it for you guys because this is what they've requested from both the defense but also from the prosecution. Let's see. So it says the following. The court requests a supplemental brief addressing the following question. Assuming that the informant's out-of-court statements should have been admitted, newsflash, of course they should have been admitted, was the district court's error in excluding those statements harmful or harmless, and why? Please provide citations to the record detailing what was excluded, what was admitted, and explain what effect that had. Now, these briefs are due by Monday, the 27th. And why do I think that is particularly interesting? Well, I think that they're going to give these guys a new trial. And I think the reason they've honed in on this specifically is because if they're going to do that, they want to make sure that if they get a new trial and they allow this evidence in, it's going to be something that was substantive, right? That would have changed the outcome of the trial. That's what they're asking about. And I think that this is very easy for the defense to prove, because if you go back to the first trial, the first federal trial, it is incredibly contentious. It ends in 0 convictions for the government. 2 acquittals, Daniel Harris, Brandon Caserta, and it's a mistrial on Adam and Barry, meaning the jury could not come to a decision as to Adam and Barry. So it was very close. And had some of these out of court statements been admitted that showed the breadth and the scope of what the government was doing to orchestrate it, then yes, that would have made the difference, I believe, and I think everybody else does, that that trial would have ended in 0 convictions and all acquittals. They just wouldn't allow the evidence in. And so I find the timing of all of this stuff very interesting. Like I said, the public perception of this case has changed where everyone knows that what happened to these men was not just. For her to be coming out saying she wants to talk to them is really convenient for her. I don't believe that she is genuine, and I don't think these men would really want her quote unquote help. She's still trying to sabotage their appeals. Don't forget that Whitmer is the head of the MDOC, the Michigan Department of Corrections. As the governor, she's at the top of the organizational chart there. She is the one then that knew. So on the eve of their appeals, the 3 men who were convicted at the state level, Joe Morrison, Paul Beller, Pete Musico, on the eve of their appeals, she had them moved, and I guarantee it was her, from the MDOC facilities to federal BOP facilities across the country, to move them out of the state of Michigan to make it harder for them to effectively participate in their own appeals, right? They don't have access to a Michigan law library. Their Michigan public defenders aren't going to drive all the way to Illinois or West Virginia or Pennsylvania to visit with them, to talk to them. They can't get them on the phone. Their legal mail's being returned to sender. A third party is monitoring their attorney-client privileged phone calls. So no, I don't buy she wants to help them. If she does want to help these guys, and they're not the ones who plotted anything, we all know it was the FBI and DOJ who did that. If she wants to help them, she can stop interfering in their appeals. She could direct the MDOC to allow these men to come back to Michigan for their appeals, which they're in the process of trying to do right now, and the Attorney General's office is fighting every step of the way. So nobody's buying her lies. It's just disgusting, and it's despicable. It makes me sick, and I'm gonna go off. This is enough, guys. I'm not gonna cry. I will not cry about this, but she does not get to pretend she understands their humanity when doesn't even know their names. I bet she doesn't even know their names. It's very sad, too, that this is where we're at. All right, I'm interested to know what you guys think. Why do you think she wants to talk to these guys? Why do you think she's doing this now? Do you think that it has something to do with how she's portrayed? Look at her social media. And I'm going to tag her. I'm going to post this video online, and I'm tagging her in it, because all of the comments there, when it comes to this case, it's all negative about her and her role in it. Everybody knows. So I feel like she's probably getting a lot of public pressure to say something about this. She should condemn what happened to these men. She should renounce her part in the hoax. She should publicly expose what she knew and when she knew it. She should make available all of her communications between herself, her office, her security detail with the FBI, showing what she knew when she knew it. We want all of the information of when Mark Toten was her personal attorney, and why he recused himself from Adam and Barry's retrial. What was the role he played between her and the FBI? Was he the liaison as they coordinated the hoax? We want to know. And so if she wants to talk to these men, she can make that information publicly available. How about be transparent? Isn't that what you ran on, Whitmer? You ran on being transparent. You said you were going to change the rules so that the governor's office had to be responsive to FOIA requests. You never did that. You didn't change anything. You do not respond to FOIA requests. It's very disturbing. So if you want to help these men, you tell us what you knew and when you knew it. You renounce your role in the hoax. You publicly apologize, and you start to advocate for their freedom. There are 5 that have been acquitted and 5 who are still incarcerated. And you need to also denounce FBI corruption and entrapment. You do that, and maybe you could talk to those guys. But, anyways, you're interested in helping the actual plotters, the conspirators, which is yourself, the DOJ, the FBI, the Michigan Attorney General's office, and the Michigan State Police. There you go. All right, everybody. That's it for now. Have a good day.